Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about the new Z7 II. I was lucky enough to be one of the first people to get one of these. Huge shout out to Green's Camera in Salinas, California. He really bent over backward to get this thing to me quick. So Nikon officially released this on, what was it, the 10th of December. I got mine the 15th. Due to some shipping delays with, I believe it was UPS. So I've had it about 2 weeks now, and I wanted to give some of my initial opinions. First off, coming from a DSLR straight into the Z7 II, this thing is a monster. The file sizes are huge, and there is so much data to work with. So first off, we've got the new and improved CF and SD card slots. So I only shoot with the XQD, sorry, not CF, XQD. I only shoot with an XQD card, but I keep an SD card in there as a backup. I shoot RAW only, the 45 megabyte file size, and I just keep that SD card in there for, you know, that one-off situation where I fill it up shooting too much. So let's talk about that real quick. With a 120 gigabyte XQD card in there, I've got about 1,200 pictures. That's not a lot. Specifically when I am on session, I take full advantage of the continuous high shutter options. So I keep that SD card in there because I'm afraid that it's going to run out. It hasn't yet. The thing has done amazing so far, but there's always that chance. So I keep the SD card in there just in case. Just like every other camera that Nikon's ever made, every other digital camera, you got your back button autofocus capabilities, your menu buttons on the back, your front and rear command dial, ISO button up top, just like on the D850, play and delete, your picture control, whether you want to shoot in automatic, aperture priority, shutter priority, manual, different picture modes. We have 3 options to save different user profiles. I'll talk about those in a little bit. And then we've got this huge, I'll take it off and show you, this huge sensor. Absolutely gigantic, with almost no flange. I was doing some research. Apparently, mathematically, Nikon has the mathematical ability to do a f.065 aperture lens, which is just insane. I mean, we've seen the f.95 58mm Noct lens already, which I'd love to get my hands on, but $8,000 is not something I'm willing to drop on a lens. Anyway, so battery compartment. It comes with one EN-EL15C, and it has the ability to be charged via USB, which is really cool. So if you're carrying a battery pack doing long exposures, you've got a USB-C slot right here, and you can put a battery pack up to it, which is fantastic. Let's talk about some ergonomics real quick. This camera was designed by photographers for photographers. I love it. My hand fits perfectly on this camera. Function buttons make perfect sense. It's really, I picked it up and within 20 minutes it just fit. The buttons work, like they work with how I take pictures. So what I've got right now is I've got back button focus set up on the AF on. I've got my aperture and shutter reversed so that they're opposite of the ISO on the control dials, or the command wheels. And then the function 1 button is my white balance. I'm kind of picky about white balance. I'll adjust it a couple times throughout a session, especially now that it's so easy to control. And then the function 2 button is the shooting mode. So autofocus continuous, autofocus single servo, manual focus. It makes so much sense. I love it. Now we're going to talk about a little bit about the eye detect. Eye detect on the Z7 II is a game changer. It's so quick. It's got the 2 processors compared to the Z6 and Z7's 1. It's fast. I'm going from having to throw out probably 40 to 50% of my shots due to exposure or missing focus, which was normal for me, to now probably 90% of my shots that I take are technical keepers, and that's amazing to me. That means I can take less shots per session, speeds up my cull time. You know, everything's a little bit quicker with this. The only complaint I have, well, I have 2 complaints. The only complaints I have, one, not Nikon's fault. Capture One has still not released an update for the Z7 and Z6 II. So if you're using Capture One, you have to go through this whole terminal process to adjust the files so that the metadata reads Z7 instead of Z7 II. Functionally, they're the same. I'm not sure why Capture One hasn't come up with an update yet to make it usable. And then 2, battery life. I'm a battery nerd. I carry lots of batteries. So on a session, a 1 hour, just a normal family session, I kept a battery in my D750, plus 1 in the battery grip, plus 1 in my pocket in case both of those died. And I never even went through a single bar on the first battery. With this, on a single session, if my battery isn't completely charged, I'm pushing it towards the end. I get about 800 pictures per battery. And a lot of that has to do with the EVF, the electronic viewfinder, and the screen always being on in some way, shape, or form. It just uses more batteries. So it's not something that they can fix. But the fact that they have excluded aftermarket batteries is kind of frustrating. So I have a mountain of aftermarket batteries that worked flawlessly with my D750 and the D610, the D850. But when I put them in the Z cameras, they're not compatible. That's fine, it makes sense. Nikon wants you to use their products, not third-party products. But it's a little frustrating. So that's my initial review of the Z7. It's a fantastic camera. It's a game changer. I was really hesitant. I was a huge holdout on the DSLR mirrorless game. I was a DSLR till I die. I was lucky enough to have a phenomenal wife who bought me a Z7 II, and I'm sold. I will not be going back to DSLRs. I have DSLRs on hand. They make great backups, but there's something about this Z7 II, this mirrorless camera, that just blew me away. If you liked what you saw, please remember to click like and subscribe. Share it with your friends. Leave a comment below if you have any questions. Look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.